Welcome in to week 3 of the Climate Tech Inc. NFL Prediction Show. I'm Cole McDaniel, here with me, Vince McKee. Vince, we have had an interesting first 2 weeks of the NFL season. Lots of crazy games, lots of things going on, and it has been really the toughest start to any year for this show for us when it comes to picking games. So I'm going to toss it to you first to talk about our great sponsor, and then we'll get things going.
Climate Tech Inc., guys, you know them well. For 40-plus years, your premier source heating, cooling, solutions of any kind. They do it all. Watch out for them today at Climate-Tech. Just swing over to our website. Click on the sponsorship page. They are there as well. Or, hey, Cole is the man this year with graphics. Look at the top of the screen. There they are. Climate Tech. You know them. You love them. Cole, you couldn't have said it any better. I almost feel fortunate right now to be at 17-15. Cannot believe the weekend of football we just saw. Just so wild. I don't even know where to begin. Did our picks, have them right here for this coming week, and I have to believe start to finally get off the snide here. 17-15. I'm not happy about it, but we're tied. I'll take it. Let's start fresh in week number 3.
At least we're both above 500. You made your way back above 500 after week 1, and now we're all knotted up. Not necessarily the most happy about being tied because I've, pretty much held a lead the first couple seasons through the first half, but maybe a little bit of a change of pace will actually change things in my favor. But before we turn to NFL games, let's talk about college football. The top 25 game this week that we're going to discuss: number 11, Tennessee, and number 20, Florida. Now, Tennessee is at home. They're the higher-ranked team. They have an excellent quarterback who's in the Heisman race here early in the season. Now, a lot can change. Tennessee, are they finally starting to turn the program around after they've had many struggles for many years? And can they get it done against Florida, Vince?
I would love to see them get it done. I'm going to take Florida. Going with the Gators on the road in this one, strictly because Tennessee is a put them up or shut them up college for probably like the last, let me think here. My goodness, since I've been out of high school, about 20-plus years since Peyton Manning was there. T. Martin, they won their last national championship with T. Martin as the quarterback. That's one hell of a trivia question, because if you were to ask people that, they would tell you, no, it's Peyton Manning. Go back and look at it. It's been that long. I love Tennessee. I really do. Actually, I love the fans, the band, the atmosphere. I love when there's a home game at Tennessee, and I would love to see them win this game. This game brings me back to my childhood. I'm not even joking, because these were two powerhouses when I was a kid. All that aside, though, they got to put them up or shut them up. They haven't done that in so many years. Going to go with Florida. Would love to be wrong.
It's a hard one because I was thinking perhaps Florida could win this. I actually went with Tennessee. Reason being is Florida hasn't been that impressive the last couple of weeks. They really haven't blown out anybody. I actually struggled to get by USF this past weekend. I also know that Tennessee got to play against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh maybe not as strong as they were last year, but still that is more of a battle-tested game than what UCF was. So we're going to see what happens here in this one. It could actually be really close. I'm going to go with Tennessee at home. There's got to be a point in time where you do get that win and you do put up and really shut up the other team. And I think Tennessee can do that this week. I have them beating Florida in a one-possession game, but getting the job done. So that's how I feel about the top 25 there. We're going to move on to the Big Ten. This Big Ten matchup that we're going to discuss: Ohio State hosting Wisconsin. Blackout, Vince. Who do you think pulls this game off? Is it an upset, or does Ohio State come out and absolutely obliterate Wisconsin?
The fans. And the fans are the biggest winner in this one, and the biggest loser, unfortunately, will have to be my wife. We were supposed to have a date night. I'm not skipping that. It's a blackout. It's going to be an early dinner. Going to make sure I'm back home to watch this game. Sorry, Emily, it is what it is. That being said, going to go with the Ohio State Buckeyes. And here's the thing, Cole, you're probably going to think I'm nuts, but if this game was reversed, and let's say this game was I'll go late October, early November, and it was in Wisconsin, I would actually take the Badgers. Very tough to go into Wisconsin and win. However, though the weather's supposed to be about 70 degrees, it's at night, it's the blackout, it's Ohio State at home, they've been rolling. For all those reasons, I think the momentum is there. Now, are they going to put up 77 points like they just did on Toledo? Absolutely not. We know these Big Ten games to be, 3 yards in a cloud of dust and all that good stuff. But this Ohio State offense something pretty special right now. I don't know if they're going to roll through Wisconsin, but I'd say they win by at least, we'll go with 10. We'll say 10-point victors.
Yeah, they're not going to put up 77, but they might put up 67. We'll see what happens against the Badgers, but a blackout. I love the black helmets and the black uniforms. It's going to be a great atmosphere against Wisconsin. Hey, always good to not need to go to Camp Randall. You're right. But I think even at Camp Randall, with this current team, they would beat the Badgers. The Badgers lost to Washington State. Is Washington State that bad? No. But are the Badgers that good? Yeah, they might have taken a little bit of a step back. If
Right.
Ohio State can just stop the run game, generate pressure, I don't think their defense that's physical between the hashes can stop Ohio State's speed and the talent that they have out wide outside the hashes. So I have Ohio State putting up a good 42 points against Wisconsin, and Wisconsin only putting up 20 themselves. So winning by 22 pretty handily. But I think there will be some points where maybe Wisconsin first quarter can hang in it. I think the doors are going to be blown wide open a little bit later in the game. So I'm going with the third overall ranked Buckeyes. The other game I want to touch on, Vince, is actually another Big Ten game. Why we're going to go with two Big Ten games this week is because number 4, Michigan, has played I believe it's one of the 3 weakest schedules in the entire college football landscape this year so far. The 3 teams that they played were the definition of cupcakes, really struggling this season. Now they play against Maryland, and a guy whose brother just went off against the Baltimore Ravens. It's Tulia Tungavailoa of Maryland going to go up against Michigan. Will Maryland get the job done, or will Michigan come away with the win here, Vince?
I don't care if his uncle was Joe Montana. They're not winning this game. Michigan is a different breed this year. Yeah, they might have had some cupcakes to start the season, but I think we're actually going to see how good this team truly is. Cole, it would not shock me if they get to that Ohio State game with only 1 or 2 losses, maybe less. I think it'd be pretty sweet if they both rolled in undefeated. All that being said, going to go ahead and I'm going to go with Michigan. I mentioned the weather that last game, by the way. It's in Columbus, not Camp Randall. But hey, if you're having problems with weather, climate tech. Cole?
Well, we'll see here. Michigan is definitely a top 5 program at the moment for this season. They look good. They do. But we talked about the level of competition. It has not been good. I actually think they're going to get tested here. I have them coming away with the win, but I think Maryland actually kind of nips at their heels. I have Michigan winning 34-24. Fairly close game, but Michigan does get it done. I just think they're going to have a little bit of a scare here because it's going to be a whole different test than what they've been seeing. Maryland's not that bad. They're continually improving. You're going to see them at a bowl game. I'm positive about that this season. So we'll see what happens, but I have Michigan winning as well. We're both on the same page, but don't be surprised if that actually ends up being more down to the wire than what you would think initially.
Ohio State had a tough game with them a few years back. I want to say it was the year before the COVID year. So I'm thinking like maybe, yeah, because Mario was there. So yeah, like 2019, they barely beat them.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. And that was in Maryland. So we'll see.
We will see. But those are our 3 college games that we went over here this week. And now we're going to switch to the NFL. We're going to start with our marquee matchup this week. It's a team that I just mentioned a moment ago, the Dolphins. The Dolphins had a huge comeback. Great battle back against the Baltimore Ravens to win that game. Tua Tagovailoa played very well, very impressive there. And the Buffalo Bills playing against the Miami Dolphins this week. The Buffalo Bills look almost unstoppable. They looked that way in week 1. They looked that way in week 2 against the Titans. I mean, Josh Allen didn't even have to play the 4th quarter. I mean, he only played 3 quarters. So will we see the Bills get the victory, or will the Dolphins move to 3-0 instead of top that division?
I think the Buffalo Bills might be the best team in football right now. They demolished the returning Super Bowl champions in their own yard. Monday night was a joke. Again, crazy to think. We have not seen a team run the table in the regular season since the Patriots, and I am not going to run my mouth and try to say they're going to do it because the NFL is much different than it was back then. But that being said, I don't see them losing for a while. Now, I will say this, and I texted you, I think maybe Sunday night during all the craziness. Miami is for real.
Yeah.
And I think their coach last year, and I forget his name, I want to say it was Brian Flores.
Hmm.
Um, I forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe he saw that too. And when they were told to tank, I think eventually he just couldn't do it, right? And they went on that giant win streak and everything else. I think we saw the seeds planted that last season. This is actually for years. This was one of the worst divisions in football. It was the Patriots and three scrubs. It is slowly turning into a very good division. Patriots went to the playoffs last year. Obviously, I think the Bills are the best team in football this year. Clearly, the Dolphins are improved. I think it's going to be a great game, but I do see Buffalo improving to 3-0.
Well, they definitely are improving in that division. I would say the Jets are actually making some improvements as well. Obviously, they are very young, but they have a lot of guys that are getting comfortable, are going to develop and become good pros, Garrett Wilson being one of them. Um, so we'll see what happens there. I do think the Patriots are taking a step back this year. I called that before the beginning of the year. We'll see what their record happens to end up being later on, but I didn't think they were going to make it to the playoffs. Might actually have a losing record, but a lot of that's credit to the Dolphins and how talented they are in stepping up. I have the Buffalo Bills winning in this one as well. They just seem unstoppable, even if the Dolphins can put up a ton of points. I don't believe in their defense stopping the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is cooking. Stephon Diggs looked incredible against the Titans as well. I mean, he had such a big night for everybody out there who had him on their fantasy team. Again, they were super thankful because they might have made a Monday night miracle comeback with him. They're really just clicking. Their run game had been the question, and Singletary's been improved this year compared to what I saw beginning half of last year. So I think everything's really piecing together. Obviously, the biggest thing for the Buffalo Bills, glad to hear that Dane Jackson appears to at least be okay. There was no major damage to his neck or vertebrae, his spine. That was concerning after the hit he took in the ambulance taking him off. But other than that, I'm excited for this Bills Dolphins game, Vince.
Yeah, certainly so. You talk about Monday Night Miracles. Actually played against my wife Emily. She gets two shout outs in one episode here. Yeah, and I was up big and I blew it. She had Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb, and Aaron Jones all in one weekend. So there you go.
Tough luck for you.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yep. But
They're good, Cole. They're
yep,
good.
but the marriage is holding strong because of course you weren't beating her there with the fantasies. So
No.
yeah. No.
I'm over the century against Emily in fantasy football. I give up.
That's why it works. The marriage keeps on going. It's successful. Just don't beat her in fantasy football.
See what I can do.
Next, we're going to move on to Sunday night football. And this is one that hits close to home for you with being a Broncos supporter. Denver Broncos play against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Trey Lance, broken ankle, now out for the season. Jimmy G steps in, and actually it might somewhat help the 49ers offense because Jimmy G is experienced and he runs that offense better than Trey Lance. Your Denver Broncos, and I use the term Josh Allen is cooking, somebody that they're trying to let Russ cook. All the memes and jokes have been going on right now because Russell Wilson has not looked good, unfortunately, for the Denver Broncos here so far. And they need to run Javonte Williams. You and I talked about that last week. So, Vince, I'm going to start this off here before I go to you. And the San Francisco 49ers are going to beat the Denver Broncos this week. I just don't see the Broncos getting it done because they've been poor in the way that they played. Last week, they're fortunate that they won. They were not good. Once again, they lost to the Seahawks, a team that's going to struggle this season. And then they barely snuck out a win this last week. Simple, easy, open passes are being missed. They're just not cohesive. They're not getting it to click. They're miles behind the rest of the AFC West.
Yeah.
And I'm going with the Niners. I think Jimmy G runs that offense much better. Like I said earlier, he's going to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on every single thing that just came out of your mouth. I mean, not to rehash everything, but I will say this. oddly enough, for the 49ers. And by the way, that's who I picked. I actually have um, 4 upset picks. I know this is the Sunday night game, but this is one of my 4 upset picks as well.
No, they're
How Denver.
favorites. The 49ers are favorites by a point.
Oh, really? Okay, my apologies. I must have been looking at the wrong column. That's even better. Yeah, I love my Denver Broncos. That's never going to change. If you see the Cleveland Indians behind me. If I was to turn the computer around, there's a Denver Broncos wall right over there. I'm not going to lie
Mhm.
about it. Cole's seen it numerous times. But listen, number one, the play calling's been atrocious. Okay, I wouldn't put all the blame on Russell Wilson right now. I think it was going to take him a few games to find his stride in the first place in Denver. The play calling has been hideous. You have one of the best backs in football who's just waiting to break out. Okay, he might not be as good as Nick Chubb is running the ball, but he has the combination of the Nick Chubb cutting ability, power, and also the speed of a Kareem Hunt. Okay, and pass catching abilities. This guy can do it all, and he's not touching the ball nearly enough. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with Melvin Gordon. All of it is really starting to irritate me. As you said, I mean they basically just skimmed by last weekend. The first week of the season should have been a blowout. Seattle stinks. And I'm going to get to that later with another pick of mine. But regardless, all that aside, it is what it is. Going to go with San Francisco. And I hate to say it because I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but they actually benefited from that injury because Jimmy G is the right man for that job. I mean, rest up, Trey Lance. Hope you feel better soon. But Jimmy G is the better quarterback.
Yeah, neither of us wish any ill will on Trey Lance.
Right.
We hate to see the injury, hope he's okay, but the 49ers never should have moved on from Jimmy G. He's
No.
better than Trey Lance.
Big mistake.
Maybe another quarterback you could move on, but I just don't think Trey Lance is that guy for that team, the way they play. They are built on defense, and then they like to run the ball and just control the clock, the time of possession, and have a game manager. Trey Lance is not a game manager. Jimmy G is one of the best game managers out there in the league.
Yeah, and we don't have a ton of time because this is a prediction show, but I want to make this one quick point too. And me and Cole have talked about this to death. Carson Wentz, Jimmy G, Derek Carr. Those are 3 quarterbacks I could tell you off the top of my head that I would have took over Baker Mayfield in a heartbeat. When Kyler Murray came out and got drafted by the Cardinals and Baker Mayfield ran his mouth, would have took Murray over Mayfield in a heartbeat. These are 4 quarterbacks no one ever really gives a ton of hype to that deserve it. They're going to win games for you. Derek Carr's struggling right now, but it's not him. It's the team has had really bad luck his first 2 weeks. Regardless, no doubt about it. Jimmy G's he was. If they don't play Kansas City in that Super Bowl, they could possibly win it, right? I mean,
Right.
Kansas City was going to get beat that year, so yeah, just frustrating to think that the Browns could have had them. I love Deshaun Watson. I'm happy how it turned out, but so many frustrations there. But yeah,
I'm not even going to say his name, but the guy is gone from the Browns and goes to play quarterback at Carolina. And I thought we'd be done mentioning his name. And somehow every week you manage to bring him up. I'm going to start this like swear jar with his name on it. And you're going to have to put money in it every time you bring him up because I'm going to try to avoid it like the plague during this prediction show this
Cole,
year.
You better hit me up soon, man, because with both my daughters going to Catholic school, I swear every other day is a new charity, new fundraiser. Oh, it's like pay for a new statue for the school. But yeah, definitely move it on. So far we're 2 for 2. We agree on both these.
And speaking of a new charity, if anybody's big into betting out there, hopefully our upset picks can come up big for you. Again, we're going to talk about who we think can pull off upsets this week. I'm going to start it off because I know Vince said there were a couple upsets he was looking at. There were a couple I looked at as well. But the one I'm going with here, I wanted to talk about it because it's hard to believe it's an upset. If said quarterback were not injured and they weren't playing with their backup, they would be favorites in this game. And that's the Dallas Cowboys over the New York Giants. They would be favorite over the New York Giants with Dak Prescott. Now that Prescott's out, they're actually underdogs in this matchup against a surprisingly undefeated New York Giants team. Now, Cooper Rush is not that bad. He's a gunslinger. Are they going to put up the same amount of offense, the same points that they did with Dak Prescott with Cooper Rush? No, they're taking a step back. But he's a gunslinger enough, and their defense is good enough that they should be able to minimize what the Giants can do because Daniel Jones is not that hard to limit. He's already limited in his own abilities. I've got the Cowboys winning this one over the New York Giants. That's my upset pick of the week, my main one.
I had to do a double take at a couple of these. And then, wild enough, that was my main one as well. So I do
Hmm.
agree. We're 3 for 3 on agreements thus far, and I got a hunch we're going to agree on the Browns game too. But anyways, Dallas at the Giants. I took Dallas. I don't think Cooper Rush is that bad of a backup. I'd actually
No.
rather have him over Jacoby Brissett. I think he's got a ton of potential. He's not afraid of the big moment. He has shown you that in both of his starts last year at Minnesota on a Sunday night out of nowhere. All of a sudden he's starting, and then now, like him a lot. And I'll throw. I love to do this, so I guess I was wrong. So San Francisco is the favorite, so I'll cross that one off the board. Cole, I also have Green Bay winning at Tampa Bay
Me
as one
too.
of my upsets. You two, and then
Yep.
this one I can almost guarantee we do not have the same, but I'll give it to you anyways. I have Tennessee picking up their first win at home against Las Vegas in a battle of 0-2 teams. And again, maybe I'm dyslexic, but I'm almost positive Las Vegas was in the favorite column there when I looked at it earlier.
Yeah, and they should be because Las Vegas is miles ahead of the Tennessee Titans right now.
You would think that, but Tennessee wins a lot of games they shouldn't. So those are my upset specials for the week as I look this over. Well, again, I wish we had more time because I would love to break down that Green Bay Tampa Bay game with you.
Yeah, you and I are both on the same page there. I think it'll be a close one, but Tampa Bay with all the injuries and in the suspension of Mike Evans, I think it's just leaning towards the Packers here at this point, and they've got a great shot to march into that one and get the win. I just think Aaron Rodgers also seems to have more focus than Tom Brady. I feel bad for Tom in some ways, in other ways he brought it on to himself with retiring, then unretiring. But at the same time, you still feel bad for him, I guess, with some of the personal stuff. That's never the most easy, and he's trying to gut through it. So, but we'll see if they can get it done. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you and I are both on the same page there. But we were both on the same page with our upset pick. We've been cohesive tonight. Can we remain cohesive
We
when we
have
talk
been.
about the Cleveland Browns? That's the question. Because I'll be honest, I have never been so furious at a Browns game. You best believe that I was shouting at the TV when I was watching that. So much so, I knew my wife was going to be annoyed with me, and and I was looking at the pond out there, and I've never seen turtles out in the pond vents, and I'm literally shouting at the TV. I walk over, I look out, I'm like, hey, there's turtles out there swimming. She gets up, gets distracted, comes over to look, and I go right back to yelling at the TV. It kept her distracted enough that she didn't have to get too upset with me because she was watching the turtles in the pond. But no, honestly, I was shouting. I was mad. Hard to believe they blew that 13-point lead with a minute and a half left, but they managed to do it. And now they play on Thursday night, a shortened week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. How do you feel about this?
Pittsburgh's offense is terrible. I'm going to go with the Browns. I'd feel better. Full disclosure, everybody, we're filming the show a little bit earlier in the week than we normally do. I'll leave it at that. Not going to give away all the bells and whistles of what we do. But still, at this point of us filming the show, Myles Garrett is questionable. If Myles Garrett plays, I think we're going to win. I think the Browns are going to, kind of dominate the line of scrimmage. They need to start getting more pressure in the middle of that line as well. Pittsburgh's offense doesn't have a ton that really scares me, quite frankly. But I think Najee Harris is talented enough to get, pick up some punches and bunches, set Trubisky up. They have a good field goal kicker in Boswell. They can do a lot of the smaller things very, very well. They've already shown you that. They went into Cincinnati and won. They've owned the Browns since the Browns have been back. You talked about that probably being the most painful loss you've been through. Again, I'll show my age, 40 years old. I'll be 41 in a few months here. Sadly, Cole, I've had ones worse than that, but it
No,
was bad.
not the most painful, the most angry I have ever been at a loss.
I've had worse than that, unfortunately, as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I think not my biggest, but probably one of my more frustrating was in 02 when I thought we were finally going to win an opener, and that was only 4 or 5 years into the rebirth and when Rudd threw his helmet. But that's just one tiny pebble on a mountain when it comes to the Browns. I do want to say this. I want to get this off my chest because it's really starting to, well, it's pissing me off, quite frankly. Nick Chubb is not at fault.
No.
If you're sitting there Sunday and you're blaming everything on Nick Chubb, you're a moron. How ignorant can you be? I wrote out that article with the three culprits. And a lot of people agreed with me on that one, but a lot of people came back to me and said, no, Nick Chubb's the number one culprit. You
No,
can't be that stupid.
no.
If it wasn't for Nick Chubb, they wouldn't have been in that position in the first place. And number two, you go for the end zone and think to yourself, wow, my team's going to be up 2 touchdowns with 90 seconds to go. In your brain, you
It's a
think
lock.
it has to be. Yeah, I just want to get that off my chest because I've seen a lot of that this week. People are ignorant, and it really frustrates me. I do think the Browns are going to win, but I'll tell you what, if they don't, I don't know. I mean, they're probably going to beat Atlanta week 4, but they really needed to start the season 4-0, Cole. They really needed to start the season 4-0. So if they could somehow get to 3-1, we'll go from there. The Patriots aren't nearly as tough as I thought they were. I put them on the moon. They've already shown me through 2 weeks they're not nearly as good as I thought. And we play them in a few weeks. I think the Chargers are going to whoop us. So at the very least, we need to get to 3-1. This is a must win. They lose this game, they're in a world of hurt. Denzel Ward, shut up, just play. The defense, shut up, just play. I don't care whose fault it was. Figure out a way to correct it.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb is not at fault there. No, go for the end zone. Put your team up 2 scores. It should be a lock to win. You should be able to rely on your defense, on your special teams to get it done. And they didn't. And Nick Chubb shouldn't be taking any fault here, any blame in this. It's foolish. It honestly is. He made a smart decision at the end of that Texans game last season because of the time that was on the clock.
Right.
This season, there was more time on the clock. You're not going to just drain all that time. Go score the touchdown. He did the right thing. Moving on. The coaches, really all those coaches deserve blame. This guy drives me absolutely insane. And I get there's communication errors out there and there's something going on with the calling. Vince, the 2020 NFL Draft, second round.
I knew you were going there.
Antoine Winfield Jr., star safety out of Minnesota, sitting on the board. Looks like that's where we're going to go because we need a very talented, strong safety. And the pick is in, and the Cleveland Browns select none other than Grant Delpit, safety of LSU. What happens the very next pick? Antoine Winfield Jr. goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and who is probably one of the top 10 safeties in the league right now.
And he's already got a
Antoine Winfield Jr. And we have to deal with injury-prone Grant Delpit, who was out initially. And now that he's in, and coverage is supposed to be his strength. And we've dealt with blown coverage after blown coverage from him so far already. There are too many talented pieces there. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome are lockdown corners. Martin Emerson, I'm very pleased with what I've seen from the rookie. And then you have John Johnson III, who's an experienced vet at safety. Grant Delpit is that weak link there in the secondary right now. He's not that bad of a player, okay? He's really not that bad. There are a lot worse safeties out there.
Play him in a nickel.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm like, just get Ronnie Harrison in there in place of him. Mm-hmm. Honestly, if he can't communicate and he's struggling so much, now I turn to the picks I'm going to make this week. And actually, I was kind of flip-flopping both ways. I want the Browns to win, obviously. But I was thinking, can the Steelers get this victory? I ended up picking the Cleveland Browns. Here's why. A couple scenarios I'm going through in my head. I'm thinking, okay, let's say the Browns get down. Do I trust them to maybe get back in the game? Well, the Steelers defense doesn't have TJ Watt. Yes, they might be able to get it done without the top pass rusher for them. Okay, the Steelers defense is not quite to the level it could be. They're not at optimal power. So now I think about it, what if the Browns are up and they're winning? Can they close out a game? Well, they've had big plays go against them, against Carolina. They could not stop the Jets at the end. So can they stop the Steelers? And I was thinking about it. Well, honestly, with the way the Steelers have been playing offensively with Mitch Trubisky, the Jets with Joe Flacco are clicking on offense a whole lot better because the Jets actually had a couple decent things on film against the Ravens. Did they get it done? No. Did they score many points? No. But Flacco has been starting to connect with those receivers. I don't trust what the Steelers are doing offense. They're atrocious on offense right now.
2 touchdowns.
And they need to move to Kenny Pickett here before too long. And it's not all Mitch Trubisky. Bill Cowher said it best on CBS the other day. He said Mitch is playing like he's scared to make a mistake and scared to turn the ball over. He's not playing with confidence to, if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. Let's get this done, okay, and make the play. He needs to play with a little bit more confidence and not with a fear. And Matt Canada, it needs to be calling better plays, and they just need to overall be able to shape that offense better. So because of the big struggles that the Steelers are having on offense and the lack of power on defense because of missing their star player in TJ Watt, I think the Browns they get it done. And I think they'll be able to close it out this week because they know how foolish they looked last week. You best believe, Joe Woods and some of those guys are on a thin rope here now, and they're going to tell their players, let's get it straightened out because we have to. And I think they're going to rebound.
Couple things I want to touch on real quickly here. Number one, I remember that draft show well, and you can see as I'm pointing to my ring finger here, the guy goes in, has an amazing rookie season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wins the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
Super Bowl ring on his hand as we speak. Ironically enough, I was sitting right here in this exact spot because that was the COVID year where we were all remote. You were at your house, I was here, all that good stuff. I believe Brandon was with us that night as well for night 2. But that was a big deal, right? And we all knew in that moment that the Browns screwed up that pick. You just had that gut feeling. People were gun shy from the year before already with Greedy Williams. We had that gut feeling, right? So I agree. Grant Delpit maybe in a nickel package, but for him to be starting and playing the majority of the snaps, I think is a big mistake. That's number one. They need to get that cleaned up. Number two, I will say this, the Browns' ability to come back from behind, I do not like it. They need to get ahead early, ground and pound, and find a way to finish. I personally don't think they have the threats to come back. Number three, I would like to see a lot more of David Bell. The guy showed you how reliable he is. He got one target, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I believe just that one target. Caught the ball and got blasted. It was a terrible play call. Caught the ball, got blasted, still hung on to the ball, got right back up. He's very reliable. Let's see what you have. I almost said Mitchell Schwartz. That's a blast from the past. Anthony Schwartz has what now? I mean, we're going on. This is probably game 20 coming up, right? That he's could have played. He was hurt a little bit last year, but regardless, the guy's had a ton of time to show you a lot of things. Why not get David Bell some more touches? Cole, I know we're short on time. I'll let you take us home. And I do want to say one last shout out there to Climate Tech. The weather's going to turn very soon here. Check them out, Climate Tech. Inc., just a phenomenal, incredible sponsor. But yeah, Cole, I mean, we are sitting at the precipice for the Browns where we're going to find out what kind of season we're going to have a little bit quicker than I thought we would, because it could just be very, very bad if they lose to Pittsburgh again.
Yeah, if they can get out of these first 4 weeks at 3-1, they've still got a shot. Like I said, Patriots are, a little in the horizon as well, and they're not the Patriots of old. So there's still some potential moving forward. We'll see what percent of the team can do.
And real quick too, super quick, when you look at how the Bengals lost, you look at how the Ravens lost. I mean, that was unbelievable, that opportunity that they blew. They could be sitting there at 2-0, Pittsburgh 1-1, Baltimore 1-1, and Cincinnati 2 games back. And I still think Cincinnati wins the division regardless of whatever happens. But yeah, I mean, just very painful.
Division is wide open. And honestly, we thought that maybe with how the Ravens and the Bengals, how their teams were set up, we'd see them both at 2-0. That's not the case. So that gives actually hope. Yes, it's frustrating the loss the Browns took, but there's actually a lot of hope moving forward because of the struggles of the other teams in the division. Will they get things clicking again? Probably. But the longer it takes, the better it helps you, because the more time that passes, the closer we are to Deshaun Watson, a franchise quarterback, a super talented quarterback coming back to playing. Regardless of what your feelings about him are, you know this: he makes your football team better, and he gives you a chance. And that's about how we're going to wrap this one up. Again, Vince and I, we were on the same page tonight with the Climate Tech Inc. NFL prediction show. Again, sometimes we're completely off and going different directions. For all the Browns fans out there, you don't have to worry about either of us picking a division rival, a hated rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers. As tempting as it was after what we saw this past week, Vince and I both think they come away with the win, but that's going to do it here for week 3. We'll see if either of us can break the deadlock in our prediction record here this season. But again, thanks everybody for tuning in, watching, and listening to the Climate Tech Inc. NFL Prediction Show. If you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do so as well. High school football coming up on Friday. We'll be at Brunswick as they host Mentor. For myself, for Vince McKee, everybody, have a great night. Go Browns.